Hello, ma'am.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you?
Doing great. You don't have to call me ma'am. Please call me Tanya. I'm not that old or anything.
Sure, sure. No issues. So, if you're okay with it, should we start?
Definitely.
So, good evening, everyone. I am Khushi Vijay, co-member at Placement Cell Shivaji College, and I welcome you all to this live session under our series, Success Stories. Today, we have with us Ms. Tanya Agarwal. She is currently pursuing her MBA from IIM Calcutta and has a lot of professional experience by working in really big companies such as McKinsey and Company, Thornton LLP, EY, and much more. She completed her graduation from Shaheed Sukhdev College of Business Studies, and we welcome you with us. So, ma'am,
Thanks.
we are really lucky to have you here today, and I'm sure each and everyone present here would learn a lot from you today. So, without further
Thank
ado,
you.
do we begin with the questions?
Sure.
So, ma'am, you interned at the World Youth Council as an entrepreneur, right? Could you tell us something about your role there?
Right. So, just give you a brief about the concept of entrepreneurship. So, you all know what an entrepreneur is, right? So, you're creating your own startup. So, entrepreneur is just the same thing, but within an organization. So, when you take up a new project, you start up a new initiative, you helm it of all on yourself, then you become an entrepreneur. So with World Youth Council, I was actually I started a project of financial literacy. So World Youth Council is basically an organization. It's a not-for-profit organization that is working towards skill development of the youth of the country. So people like you and me, they are reaching out to them and they are giving them the values of entrepreneurship to create better entrepreneurs in the future. So we realized that financial literacy is something that's extremely important and that's something that's not really stressed upon in the country as such. So found the opportunity, reached out to World Council and started financial literacy. So like talking about my work, it was first of course understanding the market where what is the need of this? Like we all know that there's the need of financial literacy, but what exactly do the numbers say? So did a bit of research there, both primary and secondary. Then conceptualized a program, worked with a few organizations on the sponsorship part of it, and yes, I guess that's it. And then started contacting these schools, created a curriculum, and then started implementing them as schools.
Wow, that must have been quite an experience there. So next, you have quite a number of writes at very interesting writes at Curious. What made you take up freelance writing, and why do you think that? What do you think are the skills necessary for that?
So that was my first year of my college. So I wanted to explore a few fields, and writing was something I've always been passionate about. And I felt that Curious was a great platform for several reasons. One, that I was working on business news part of it, business segment. So that was something that was totally of my interest. And when you write an article, you have to do a lot of research. So if you compare you reading an article and writing that article, the kind of knowledge you will gain from writing it will be way multifold than actually reading it, because what you see on the screen as the article has probably 10 times work or 10 times long article that's gone into that's come from the research. So I got a lot of perspective about how businesses are working. It helped me stay it helped me stay updated with the news about what's happening in the business world, and it also helped me connect with a lot of people. So one thing that's very important is your professional network. So what kind of forums you are in. So Curious provided a really good forum to discuss anything you wanted to. The kind of writing guidance you got from the mentors there, that was professional. So that helped me improve my writing skills. And yes, like there's some, like I'm in the alumni group now, so I get to interact with a lot of people. In case I need any help, there'll be someone or the other from Curious to stand it. So yeah, that was the major reason behind it.
That's great. That's great. You've also worked as an investment and research analyst at KYD and Capital Investments. Could you elaborate on some of the projects that you've worked on while interning there?
Yes, so Kite Ventures happened just during the lockdown. I wanted to do something, found an internship in angel investing. And angel investing is something that's coming up in India, especially a lot. It's growing exponentially. If you look at the startups that are being funded by the angels today in the country, the number has grown crazily in the past few years. So the projects I had were majorly centered around, they were like multiple ones. One was so Tide was just a new startup. The angels were seasoned investors. Both of them had invested more than like 30 to 40 startups individually. So they had a lot of experience, but the organization per se was new. So one major challenge was to reach out to more angel investors and also to reach out to more startups. So majorly working on the outreach of both. Second was the knowledge development. So in India, even though the angel investing is growing a lot, people don't really understand what angel investing is. There's still a stereotype that only HNIs can be high net worth individuals can be angels. But the reality is that probably people like human can actually be, once we start earning a significant amount of salaries, we can actually start working, we can actually start becoming angels bit by bit. So that understanding, and even the ones who become angels, what do you do? How do you really evaluate a startup? How do you decide whether you want to invest in a startup or not? Especially given the failure rates. So that kind of knowledge is not really available in the market. So that is what I was working on. And then lastly, I was also working with the startup. We were evaluating the startup both in terms of qualitative and quantitative research, and just understanding what's the prospects. So I interned only till the time we were creating the proposal. It did not really go through the investors till that time, but yes, that kind of sums up.
Wow, that's kind of a very wide array of experience you get there. Coming to your work at Grant and Thornton, could you shed some light on your roles and responsibilities while you were working there?
So in Grant Thornton, I was working as a consultant intern. So there was a client we had who was in the mint industry, and there were a lot of supply chain issues that they were finding. Majorly when you actually read about the commodity prices, and especially in mint, these are very much affected by the futures and options markets. And farmers, like in India especially, the issue is that F&O, like the derivatives market, is majorly being used by investors to gain profits. It's not really being used by the farmers for who, like if you actually look at the history of derivatives market, the market was actually created for farmers, for these producers, so that they could overcome the uncertainty of their produce. So that is not really happening in India, and mint producers are facing a lot of issues, and of course that just escalates to the companies who are working with me. So we're working with that. We were debottlenecking issues, looking at how we could increase the certainty of the supply of mint, and any other short-term issues that were there. And apart from that, I was also working on a financial model for their NGO arm. So they wanted to open a hospital in Delhi, and as a CSR activity, so worked on the finances, business model.
That is great work, really. The NGO and everything. That is great work. Can you now tell us about the work culture of McKinsey and Ernst & Young, and which among the two was more optimal for your career growth?
So McKinsey and EY were actually quite different. So McKinsey was an M.B.A. internship. So the kind of impact I could create, the kind of independence I got from the internship, that was great. I mean, I was working as a full-time employee technically. I had a whole project under me. I was basically working towards a digital transformation of a bearings manufacturer. So strategizing the concepts, implementing them. So that was the work. For EY, it was more on the research part. So treasury management is something that's again not very not a very popular concept in India. But if you actually see it outside, say US, Europe, mostly all the companies have a treasury department. In India, we have family offices, family-run businesses. So what they generally do is that they internally decide they do not invest that much. They put it into more conventional sources of investment instruments, and that's okay. But when you have a treasury department, then you can actually earn a lot of profit apart from your regular activities as well through just investing the cash you have. So that is the work that we're working on, the importance of treasury, the digitization of treasury management systems. So more research oriented. With McKinsey, it was more on the implementation side. Yeah, I guess I covered all the points. Did I miss anything?
Yeah. So you were also a part of a lot of society in your college life, and also you were the president at IIM, right? So do you think societies play an indispensable role in the life of a college student?
I won't say indispensable. I mean, people do great with the society. So there's a lot of hype when we get into college that we have to join the society. The society is good. The society gives you good placements. Blah blah blah. Not really. I mean, it's okay if you're not a part of the society. But yes, one thing societies do help you is explore the kind of fields you want to. It helps you work on a lot of things that you would not otherwise. So, like just organizing an event, on the face of it, does not sound too much work. But you actually, when you are given the responsibility, especially like when you have a POR, then you have to helm the project. You have to take the project. You have to basically run the project. You have to run the event. You have to take all the decisions. So all of that you would not get as a undergraduate student. So that kind of exposure is very good. Again, the kind of experience, the kind of the interaction you get with the faculty, then again the brainstorming, networking with your own batchmates, all of that really helps when you join the society.
That's great. I mean, we kind of, everybody's excited to be in societies once they enter colleges. Coming to your current degree, coming to your IIM currently, can you describe your campus experience at IIM Calcutta so far?
Oh, it has been amazing, the best ever. I mean, IIM Calcutta, trust me, place to be. So, so we were, of course, affected by COVID. We got to the campus late. But as soon as we got here, we just did not want to leave. And that's probably 95% of the batch would say that. So, the campus has been great. The people here are great. The facilities here are great. Professors are extremely supportive. And just working on the projects together, that gives a lot of perspectives from different people. So that is something that, then again, the emphasis on sports is a lot in IIM Calcutta. So that helps you understand the work-life balance that you want to create after once you join the corporate world. And I guess that's it.
As a mentor at IIM Calcutta Innovation Park, can you describe some of your commitments and what role will it play in your future?
I'm sorry, I did not get your question.
As a mentor at IIM Calcutta Innovation Park, can you describe some of your commitments and what role will that particular thing play in your future?
Yes, so that project major focus was that we wanted to help the startups that were being funded by IIM help recover post-COVID. So COVID was a situation that probably none of us would have imagined. That was a challenge that nobody ever thought about. So everything that was happening was new. And especially for startups, especially for the startups, they do not have that much resources, do not have that much expertise to get through such situations. So that was the main objective. So I was working with a startup that was majorly focusing on the agricultural side. They were focusing on the farmers who are earning secondary revenues through and through goats. So goat is a very essential part of the revenue in West Bengal, and we have a very and like the West Bengal part has this black goats, which are very specific to this to the eastern region in India, and they are becoming extinct because they are being overbred. Only the ones that are giving too much milk, they are the ones that are being bred and everything. So just understanding the challenges and working on the solutions. That was.
I'm pretty sure a lot of the students here are going to be inspired by that and would probably do the same coming in their future. Amongst all your initiatives and internships, is there any distinct or a very unique experience, that will play a role in your future decisions and plans?
I think that has to be McKinsey. So McKinsey has always been my dream company, and it's not something I would have expected. So
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, with the whole, amidst COVID, so your last year of college was amidst the whole lockdown period, and like we can safely assume that there would have been a lot of regrets, right? But is there something that you look forward to during these days?
so I definitely look forward to my student exchange program and spending more time on the campus, and hopefully there will not be another wave and we can go through our second year as we have planned. So definitely that.
I do hope the same for you and as well as for us. Last but not the least, would you like to share advice with all the undergrads, if you can?
Sorry, I did not get your question.
Would you like to share some advice with all the undergrad students?
Definitely. So, one thing is that please make good friends. Your peer group really matters a lot in terms of what you do later. Secondly, this is the perfect time for you to explore what you want to do. So, do projects, do internships, take part in societies, but don't overdo, of course. Just try to explore as much as you can, because it's much easier to explore right now than doing it later. It's not that it's not possible later. You can obviously change jobs, but this is the best time to do that. Then apart from that, just enjoy your life. This is the time. I mean, once you go into the corporate, trust me, I've done internship at McKinsey. You do not get time.
Okay. I mean, everybody, agrees with that. And since most of my questions are done, I would now like to open the platform for the audience's questions. And I guess we already have one. We have a question. First question we have is, how do you manage everything? Like with your internships, I mean, before your IIM, your college and everything, how did you manage everything?
So it's not as overwhelming as it sounds. Once you are working on things, they're not that much. They just sound too much, probably. But yeah, I mean, just some focus on what you want to do, understanding of the reason why we're doing what we're doing, and support from your friends and family.
Is there something particular you did? I mean, it's not easy to get into an IIM, right? So, how was your preparation for that? I mean, everybody aims to go to an IIM. How was your preparation?
To be honest, your first preparation towards CAT should be your mental preparation. You should, a backup option always helps. So, I had a good backup option, I had a good placement opportunity. So, I was not really worried too much about not getting through IIM. And getting through CAT. So yeah, I guess just being mentally prepared, be calm. I understand understand how you manage your stress, and just understand your own strategy. Do not just copy whatever else everybody says. Everybody has a different way of studying. Everybody has a different way of taking on challenges. So just figure out what is your method of coping with stress. What is your ideal study pattern?
Thank you for that. We have a question. Is doing MBA as a fresher good?
So it depends. Like I was sure I wanted to go in consulting. So sorry, just looking at some of the questions. Yeah. So yeah. I don't think it was a disadvantage for me because I was sure why I wanted to go into consulting, and that helped me keep my focus straight. And I like when you get into an IIM, you definitely do get intimidated. There are people with great experiences, but especially I can vouch for IIM Calcutta that the support you get here is very good. It's extremely good. So it's very important for you to reach out to people, and I think it's great coming as a fresher. Just that I would suggest that you first figure out what you want to do. You figure out which job profile you want to get into. And once you have a fair understanding, you do not have to be like 100% sure, but once you have a fair understanding, yeah, MBA is a great opportunity.
Okay, so we have a question. How to manage being a topper and everything? Sports, academy.
I am not a topper in everything. Sorry. Not really applicable to me. I'm not a topper at everything.
Okay, so next question is, how did you manage your me time along with job and other things?
Okay, so as an introvert, yes, me time was very important. So I think there are two, three things. One is that you should know that you should acknowledge that you need a me time. You should accept that fact. I mean, instead of just thinking that no, this is not good, you're not an introvert, just instead of just taking away all that, just accept that you need a me time and try to make space out of it. Secondly, I guess again, I think I would say the support of friends and family is extremely important here because we all have social lives, right? So we all know that they also require our attention and our time. So it's very important you have friends and family who understand that you are busy, who understand that even though you probably have an hour of free time, but you want that for yourself. So yeah, I guess these two should be enough.
How to remain focused when we get low score in mocks?
I can't hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a question. How to remain focused when we get low score in mocks?
Can you please repeat?
Yeah. Yeah. How to remain focused when we get low score in mocks?
How do I stay focused
when people get low score in their mock exams, basically.
So mock exams are not really for you to judge yourself on marks. Just look at the patterns, understand what your strengths and weaknesses are, and that should be enough. I mean, try to stay motivated. Try to talk to people who are positive. I think it's very important to have positive people around you who, for your cheerleaders instead of people who are just doubting. And just take a more analytic approach instead of approach where you're just telling yourself that no, you're wrong, no, you are not worth of, you're not worthy of anything. Just understand your strengths, understand your weaknesses, and see the improvement in your scores. Even if it's not improving, it's okay. Understand why it's not improving, and you should be good.
That is actually amazing to listen. And yes, we should focus on that and not on the low score. Talking about McKinsey, what were your positives and negatives when working with McKinsey?
Sure. So the positive was definitely the fact that I got full ownership of the work I was doing. I did not have any other associate or any other employee who was working with me, and I had direct access to both the senior clients in the organization I was working with, and also the senior partners and the managers who I was working with in McKinsey. So that gave me a lot of perspective. The kind of support I had was amazing. So even though everybody is really busy, you just tell them that you're stuck at a problem, that some problem is bothering you. They'll just leave everything aside and be available for you. Yes, it was very challenging, and I guess that is why it was so much fun. About the negatives, I guess, one negative you always have in consulting is one negative you always have in consulting is the work life balance. The bigger project you have, the lesser time you will have. So while I feel I was extremely lucky to have gotten the project I did, it definitely took away a lot of time from my schedule.
Uh, so there's a question from one of the students. Could you please elaborate that how to secure an internship at IB during our undergrad?
Where did I? Sorry, can you repeat?
Could you please elaborate how to secure an internship at IB during our undergrad?
So my sole provider of all these internships was LinkedIn, and some of them I got from Internshala. So you just need to be active. There are people like who are CEOs, VP, presidents. They do accept requests. They are ready to mentor you. Try to reach out to your college alumni who are working in great places. Ask them if there's any opportunity available, and just be on lookout for opportunities. I mean, the more forums you join, the more people you talk to, the more opportunities you will get. So just be on the lookout. Just be open to experiences, and do not expect always that you will get what you want, but just try to make the most of all the experiences you have.
Okay, I have a question. So, talking about when we're talking about curious, you said that having a professional network is also important, right? So, is there something you can tell us which is a great way to, increase our own professional network? Is it through, just working in companies, or is it through LinkedIn? Or, I mean, how can we build a professional network?
So there are multiple phases to it. One is like, as I said, through like I was the part of forum. So you can so if you're doing an internship, if you're working on a project with someone, try to stay in touch with them. Be like just offer help wherever you can. Secondly, networking in terms of your peers. Again, in that one thing, but which is a myth, is that you need to connect with as many people as you can. That's not true. At least according to me, just be genuine, make genuine friends, and they'll really be there to help you out. And LinkedIn is a great platform. Just be there. Just keep updating your profile. Keep reaching out to people. There'll be a lot of people who will not reply, but then there will be a few who will. So you are just looking for those few.
Okay, next question is, how did you handle so many internships, and how do you take care of your mental health between all this?
So I guess the similar answer what you're doing. Like I really wanted to explore different fields. I wanted to understand which profile I wanted to work with. So like as I said about consulting, that came through my internship experiences. Yeah, and to stay mentally sane, just have insane friends.
Yeah, you have super supportive friends over here. I can totally see that. That's actually great. So, ma'am, thank you so much for your time and your guidance. And I'm sure students are actually very inspired now, and kind of seeing your wide array of work And going through your profile, even I am inspired because you've got a lot of big companies to work at and that great experience that you have. And it was an absolute pleasure to have you with us here. Thank you for
Sure.
that.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you all my friends for coming and asking all these questions.
Thank you. Have a great day, Tanya.
Bye.
Bye.